there is a place that does not appear on official maps. An advanced civilization that predates written history. A memory buried beneath the waves, erased not by time, but by human will. Atlantis. Many consider it a myth, a legend told by Plato as a philosophical allegory. But what if that's not the case? What if Atlantis truly existed, and its destruction was so shocking, so dangerous to the balance of power, that it had to be removed from collective memory? Because when we speak of Atlantis, we are not merely talking about sunken cities or lost temples. We are speaking of a civilization where science and spirituality were one, of human beings who knew the secrets of energy, of the mind, of vibration, and of time, of a humanity that perhaps dared too much, and for that was swept away. But erasing Atlantis did not just mean destroying a city. It meant erasing a model of evolved consciousness. It meant hiding the proof that another way of living, of knowing, of being was possible. And so we must ask, who had an interest in making Atlantis disappear? Why do its traces appear in myths all around the world, from the stories of the Maya to Egyptian chronicles, from the Emerald Tablets to the Akashic Records? And above all, what did those who sought to erase it truly fear? In this video, I will guide you through the mists of time and deception. We will explore what the ancients really said about Atlantis. We will discover the spiritual and symbolic value of this forgotten civilization. And we will unveil why rediscovering it today is so dangerous and so necessary. Because Atlantis is not just a buried past. It is a memory encoded in your spirit, ready to awaken. And perhaps only by remembering it, we can understand who we truly are. Atlantis, in the most well-known vision, first emerges in Plato's dialogues, the Themis and the Critias. There, the Athenian philosopher speaks of an immense and powerful civilization, located beyond the Pillars of Hercules, that was swallowed by the sea in a single day and night of misfortune. Many consider these words to be merely a moral allegory. But Plato himself claims to have received the story from Solon, one of the 7 sages of Greece, who in turn had learned it from the Egyptian priests of the temple of Sais. And it is precisely here that the mist begins to clear. Because the Egyptians did not speak of myths, they spoke of very ancient memories, guarded in their temples as sacred truths. They spoke of a people who had defied divine laws, abusing the forces of nature and the cosmic balances. A people who, though technically advanced, had lost their connection with the heart, with the spiritual principle that guides every true civilization. Atlantis, then, was not just a geographical place, but an archetype, an initiatory civilization where knowledge was guarded by priestly castes, where energy was manipulated through sounds, crystals, and sacred geometries. It was a stratified society where masters of wisdom lived in symbiosis with the laws of the universe. According to Hermetic traditions and modern channelings, Atlantis possessed a profound understanding of the law of vibration, the universal mind, and alchemical transmutation. Technologies that today we would call science fiction were for them daily reality: telepathy, levitation, healing through sound and light, interdimensional communication. And yet, something went wrong. Like every human cycle, Atlantis too was seduced by power. Some initiates, legend says, used sacred knowledge for selfish purposes. They broke the balance. They opened unauthorized portals. And so, the entire system collapsed. The destruction was catastrophic, but not total. According to the accounts of the Toltecs, the Dogon, the Hopi, and even the Vedas, some survivors escaped and carried with them fragments of the lost knowledge. Thus were born or revived civilizations such as pre-dynastic Egypt, Sumer, the Andean cultures, and perhaps even the great civilizations of ancient Asia. All seemed to emerge suddenly with a surprising level of knowledge, as if something or someone had inspired them. But over time, even this truth was corrupted, manipulated, and finally hidden, Those who hold power have always feared free knowledge. Because Atlantis represents an alternative vision of the human being, a being capable of self-healing, of creating, of manifesting reality through consciousness. And this is the most dangerous secret of all. To truly understand why Atlantis was erased from history, we must go beyond myths and ancient texts. We must look at what it represented and what it still represents today for those who have eyes to see. Atlantis was, according to many esoteric sources, the heart of an evolutionary cycle of humanity, a cycle in which the human being was not yet separated from the cosmos, from nature, nor from themselves. Its fall was not only geological, it was a fall of consciousness. Imagine a civilization where pyramids were not tombs, but energy conductors, where sound was used to shape matter, and temples were vibrational centers capable of balancing body and spirit, where every city was built according to the principles of sacred geometry to harmonize with the Earth's energy grids. This was Atlantis, according to many occult traditions, a focal point of multidimensional knowledge, where matter was known only as a shadow of true reality, and where initiates guarded the bridge between the human and the divine. But like all great civilizations, Atlantis reached its zenith and then began to decline. Initiatic knowledge, initially reserved for those who were spiritually mature, began to be used by those seeking material power. Spiritual technologies were bent to egoic purposes. According to some sources, they even manipulated the climate, time, and perhaps dimensional portals. The result was a vibrational disaster. Like an orchestra that loses its harmony, Atlantis began to disintegrate from within. The dissonance manifested as cataclysms, political instability, and a collective loss of the sense of the sacred. And this is where the reason for its erasure comes into play. According to the mystery schools, after the collapse, some survivors sought to preserve the knowledge, but they did so cryptically. They wrote symbols, built temples, and left clues in myths and along the Earth's energy lines. But others, those who sought to dominate, not to remember, did everything they could to conceal the evidence. Over time, the very concept of Atlantis was ridiculed. Academic historiography relegated it to a philosophical fable. Alternative documents were banned, destroyed, or hidden in inaccessible archives. The real information became heretical. But why? Why such hostility towards a myth? Because acknowledging Atlantis would mean admitting that human history is much older and spiritually advanced than we've been told. And it would also mean recognizing that we are more powerful than we are led to believe. In this part of the video, we have explored the fall. But in the next segment, we will go even deeper. We will discover what still survives of the Atlantean legacy today, where it is hidden, and how it is seeking to re-emerge. So, if Atlantis was destroyed, if its ruins are buried beneath the waves of myth and oblivion, what remains? More than one might imagine, because Atlantis has not disappeared. It has been fragmented, buried, encoded. Its symbols, its knowledge, its frequencies are everywhere for those who know where to look. Think of the Egyptian temples. Think of Machu Picchu. Think of the megalithic structures that defy logic and conventional chronology. Göbekli Tepe, Nan Madol, Baalbek. In all these places, one can sense a knowledge that does not belong to the era in which they were built. Impossibly precise stone-cutting techniques, perfect astronomical alignments, symbols shared by cultures separated by oceans. All this suggests a common prior origin. According to many esoteric researchers, that origin is Atlantean. But the legacy is not only in the stones. It is in systems of thought, Hermeticism, Kabbalah, alchemy, Gnostic texts, the Emerald Tablets. All seem to guard fragments of a primordial knowledge, concealed under symbols, parables, and formulas for those ready to decode them. The very concept of initiate is born here, one who receives the task of remembering, guarding, and reactivating a forgotten knowledge. And today, that call is being felt once again. Never before has humanity found itself at a crossroads, similar to that which Atlantis faced. We have developed technology, but we lack wisdom. We have connected the world, but we have disconnected from ourselves. We are playing with energies we do not understand, just as they once did. And this is where the memory of Atlantis becomes essential, not out of nostalgia, not to rebuild a lost world, but to avoid repeating the cycle, to recognize the signs of disharmony, to remember how humanity lives when connected to the divine, to the earth, to the one. Some say Atlantis is rising again, not physically, but within the collective consciousness, through dreams, intuitions, spontaneous memories, or profound spiritual awakenings. It is as if the souls who once lived there, or carried its seed, are returning, drawn by a silent mission, to rebuild what was destroyed, not outwardly, but inwardly. Because Atlantis, in the end, is a state of being, a level of consciousness where the mind serves the spirit, where the balance between technology and wisdom is real, and where knowledge is not used to dominate, but to illuminate. And this is precisely the secret that those who rewrote history have always sought to keep hidden. Now that we have explored the origin, the fall, and the subtle survival of Atlantis, a natural question arises. What can we do today with all of this? Is it possible, in the modern world, to awaken the Atlantean legacy within ourselves? The answer is yes, but not in the way one might expect. It is not about rebuilding stone temples or finding sunken islands. It is about rebuilding the inner temple. Because Atlantis, as we have said, is a state of consciousness, and its true legacy is vibrational, spiritual, alchemical. Here are some practical tools to begin this sacred work. 1. Remember through silence. The Hermetic texts say, "Truth is in silence, and whoever knows how to listen to the void hears the eternal." Dedicate at least 10 minutes each day to deep silence. It is not merely meditation. It is a ritual of inner listening. During this time, ask yourself only one question. What have I forgotten to know? Let the answer emerge effortlessly. 2. Rebalance with sound. The civilization of Atlantis knew the power of tones, frequencies, and sacred words. You can begin with vibrational mantras like Om, Riyama, Hu, Om. Chant them aloud with intention, allowing the vibrations to resonate in your chest and head. You can also explore solfeggio tones to harmonize your energy centers. 3. Sacred geometry in daily life. The Atlanteans built according to sacred geometry to live in resonance with the universe. Bring this into your reality. Draw mandalas, contemplate the flower of life. Meditate on symbols like Metatron's cube. Even arranging objects in your home according to the golden ratio can have a subtle yet powerful energetic effect. 4. Intention and presence. In the Atlantean world, thought was not invisible. It was a creative force. Begin each day by speaking aloud a clear intention. Today, I choose to live with harmony and wisdom. Make every action conscious. Your breath, your food, your gaze, your words. Energy follows attention. Where you direct your consciousness, there you build. 5. Recognize the call. Many feel an undefinable call. An attraction to mystery, to lost civilizations, to the stars, to universal laws. It is not fantasy. It is spiritual memory reactivating. If you feel part of this awakening, listen, study, meditate, write. Perhaps you are one of those who carry within the Atlantean spark. 6. Create vibrational communities. Atlantis also fell because of isolation and division. Today, the most spiritual act you can perform is to unite kindred consciousnesses. Create meditation circles, study groups, spaces for sincere sharing. Knowledge grows when it is shared, and memory rekindles together. You don't need an external temple to access what lies within you. You only need to remember. And every small act in this direction is an act of sacred reconstruction. Atlantis is not just a legend buried by time. It is a forgotten code etched in the dreams of the human soul. It is the testimony that, long before official history, humanity knew who it truly was. We knew that the mind is a force, that the universe responds to vibration, that life is a sacred game of balance between the visible and the invisible. But this memory has been veiled, ridiculed, buried under centuries of oblivion, fear, and control. Why? Because those who remember Atlantis also remember that the human being is capable of much more. They remember that they need no intermediaries, no dogmas, no invisible chains. They remember that they are a conscious creator, and that is the secret that makes the pillars of power tremble. Now you know why Atlantis was erased from history, not because it was false, but because it was too true. And today, right now, the world is ready to remember. The fall of Atlantis was a warning, but its memory can be a guide, a compass to avoid repeating the same mistake, a spark to awaken our dormant potential. So ask yourself, what is within me that survived that ancient shipwreck? What part of my consciousness is ready to be reborn from the waters of oblivion? If this message has resonated with something deep inside you, do not ignore it. Subscribe to the channel, share this video with those you feel are ready, and write in the comments, "I remember." Because every word you speak, every choice you make, every vibration you emit is a step towards the reconstruction of Atlantis within you.